Hello, everybody. This is another English edition of Netzstimmen, Net Voices, and it's now I'm trying to let's call him Bob because his Italian name is so strange that he won't get it pronounced in any correct way in America. You're out of luck, aren't you, Bob?
The good news is I don't have to take cold calls.
Yeah, that's is here? No, he isn't.
It's Girolamo for the record.
Geronimo, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Bob, who are you and what do you do?
So Bob Girolamo, as I stated, and I founded a company called Scorc'd, and the simplest way to describe it is Pinterest for writers.
Okay.
The whole idea is when you're doing research and you're going out on the web, you have plenty of ways to save your information. You put it in Word, you put it in copy and paste into a Google Doc, or you email yourself a link. And at the end of the day, they all suck for recall.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're trying to address is how to recall the information that matters when you need it.
Okay. And so you can sort it, and you can build pinboards the same way you can build pinboards with Pinterest. Would that be, or in a similar way?
Yeah. The concept is we're forcing you to put a category and a tag when you capture that information, and people complain about that. But the reality is that forces you to be able to recall it in a meaningful way.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem I had. It said choose a category, or it said I sourced one thing only because I was somewhat busy organizing a bar camp. But I sourced one thing, and then it said, yeah, then put 3 categories there. But yeah, I was kind of it's a little barrier, I think, that exists there. But maybe you can show us the process and whatever. Maybe a little provoking question for the beginning. I mean, I'm a I don't know, ancient user of Delicious. I mean, in a way, it does exactly that, doesn't it?
It's the difference between a lot of the bookmarking tools that are out there today and what we're doing is we're asking you to capture what matters, right? So if you just grab a link, you go back to that link, and it's 12 pages long, and what mattered. And what we're asking you to do is go through and pick those 3 lines that really matter in the article.
Okay, I discovered that because I wanted to bookmark it, and then it said you need to mark something.
Yes.
It's a very German tool, It kind of says you're not following the rules. You have to. Yeah, you have to. You have to mark something.
Yes.
You're strict there. Okay, let's maybe it's really hard. I have to ask you about those bicycles later, but let's have a look at the tool.
Sure, I'll do a screen share if that works.
Yeah, that should work. We just tried it, and it worked just a second ago.
All right.
So looks good. Yep.
All right, you can see me.
Yep. Now I see the CIO page.
Perfect.
What companies are whatever. Yep.
Yep. So I'm doing research on Microsoft 365.
Okay.
And I see that let's see where we're at. Google has twice the market share. This is an important line for me. I want to remember this.
Yeah.
So I simply highlight it, right click, click on source.
Sourced it. Yeah.
We capture that text. We pick our category.
I don't see that at the moment.
You don't see the source pop up?
Nope. Probably because you picked the window or the app and not the screen. You might want to switch.
Let me go back.
That should be possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me try to switch that.
Yeah, you have to capture to broadcast the whole screen. The other thing is the safe thing to do because you're not ambushed by pop-ups. But yeah.
All right,
Okay,
can you see?
yep.
All right, let's try that again. Um,
Now we have the screen, I think. Yep,
all right, so then
yep,
I highlight, what I did was highlight the
yep,
information, right
yep.
click, and now do
Now
you
it
see it?
works, yes.
Perfect. So we've captured the text. We
Yep,
pick our category, which is what
yep,
you're
yep,
complaining about.
yep.
You can, the categories are fixed. The text, you can, um, I'm sorry, the tag is customized. So whatever you want to tag it as, and then you post that to the group.
Now
See, we need better explainers.
yes, yes. Okay, now I know what my error was. Okay, because I thought that where you now put office, that this is the place where I can define my own category.
Correct.
Know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
So it's 3 categories and 3 tags.
Up to. We only
Up to. Okay,
require.
up to. Yeah, up to. Okay.
Yes.
Now, see? It's good
This
we're
is why
doing
we
this
talk.
video. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna have to
Um,
check the thing I tagged. Yep.
for the premium users, you can create a group, and that group is only visible by the defined group. So if you have your
Okay.
group, then Oliver would only be able to see if I post a group, or you can
Okay.
post a public. Post a public, we think people will want to do research privately, and then once they
Yeah.
publish that information, they want the world to know how smart they are. They go ahead and post
Mm.
that publicly. They snip their own work
Mm.
publicly.
Okay.
So the idea is to prevent those 30 tabs. You're doing your research, you're on pages and pages and pages.
Mm.
With Sourced, you snip what matters, you post that in. I just hit the
Mm.
post button, and
Mm.
then
Okay.
when, excuse me, when you're ready to produce that content or you need to recall that information,
Yeah.
you can come back to Sourced,
Yeah.
and you can see we grab this snippet. You can,
Yeah.
when you hover, it tells you where it came from.
Okay.
When you click, it takes you back to the original.
Okay.
And
And now,
go ahead.
what I most probably would want to do is see all the snippets I saved for one project, and I do this by clicking on Office or on Technology and Telecommunications. Or
Correct.
here, yes. Okay, I click on Tags,
So you
and
can
then
filter.
okay,
Uh, you could filter down by.
yeah,
I have many tags.
yeah,
A specific.
yeah,
Uh, it's not in there.
yeah.
Or you just search for whatever you want.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Then I see. Okay, now it puts. How did it find the one from January 26th? How did it find that?
Um,
Oh,
so
it has Office in the URL.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
So what we're searching is any of the text in the snippet, as
Yeah.
well as the URL and categories and tags.
Okay. Yeah.
It will also search the username, but
Okay.
um, and yeah, I mean what you just pointed out is the simplicity of pulling up that information that you need when you need
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and being able to search for it or filter down by categories and tags to focus was our goal.
Okay. Now, okay, I see one possible problem with the categories because yeah, they're fixed. I can't use my own ones like I don't know customers or let's say I'm a writer and I'm writing for 3 different magazines and I might wanna use that. I'd have to abuse the system in some way to
Yep.
yeah to trick that kind of feature in. But on the other hand, if you let people edit the categories, they will get mixed up between categories and tags, right?
Yep. So there's two things that we're doing to address that. One is working on a comprehensive list of categories. So say 300 different categories. And then when you sign up as a professional user, you can pick the 20 that show up. And then the other way we're getting around that is with our tags. And the reality is the categories are fairly broad. So those tags are the way that you want to remember that.
You might need one category saying miscellaneous. that everybody can use to abuse the system.
Good. That's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah, because then because otherwise, you
end up picking a false category.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the other piece that is interesting from here is on a public post, you're able to do a social share. So you can push these out directly to the social. And when you're working with your team and brainstorming different ideas, we give you the ability to favorite those. So you can see the number of favorites and then be able to basically vote on what you want to include in the final piece.
Okay.
So
it might also be very helpful for presentations, not only for writing, but also for presentations. Like what kind of facts do we want to use? Yeah.
Exactly. It's we today are focused on writers and the people who are constantly producing significant amounts of content. The reality is it fits for any marketing team creating content. It fits for lawyers. It fits for doctors. There's a much broader audience than who we're focused on today.
Actually, it's going to fit on anyone who's going to do research on the web in a way. Who's collecting data on the web.
Exactly.
Not only pretty pictures like with Pinterest, but text-oriented files.
I agree. And so to finish the product demo, I guess the feedback from our users was, this is great, but how do I really make it sing? And so we built the Google Docs add-on, which you can still see my screen.
Yep.
And so I'm in a Google Doc and I'm writing my next article.
That's cool.
I have the add-on turned in. So now all of that same information, the ability to search and filter, which you saw on Scorc'd, is now in my Google Doc.
Okay.
And if I click on that little blue button, I added that snippet of information. I can do a quick, I cut that link, Control-Alt-F, creates my footer.
Yeah.
And as a business writer,
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah. So we're working to streamline that creation process.
Yeah. Okay. I just have somebody ringing at my door. Just stay put. You can explain on for the listeners, but some family ringing probably.
Right,
just a sec.
And then the other interesting part for Google Docs is you can also export, just like we did from the web clipper, and push this information out for the rest of your team to Scorc'd. The really cool part about this is if the rest of your team has access to these folders, they'll be able to.
The daughter was locked out, so. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Okay. What do we see here?
This is
content. Okay. Yeah.
I'm actually snipping from my Google Doc.
Okay. So it works both ways.
Yes. And the cool part there is the rest of your team, if they have access to that folder, will be able to click directly into this document when they see those snippets on Scorc'd.
Okay.
So this is available on Google Docs and Google Sheets.
Okay.
And then the other really cool part, if I can get to it, is my office is hiding behind
the search bar.
Yeah. Let's see
if
we can get this to pop up.
This should work because you're sharing the screen.
It's given me a hard time here.
Yep, there it is.
We got that. All right, let's see if I can. So all of that same functionality that I just showed in, it's not popping, in Google Docs is available in Microsoft Office.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yep. Now it
All right.
works.
So I'm in a Microsoft Word document, same functionality that I just showed you in Google Docs. Yeah. And the same functionality will pop into PowerPoint and Excel today. And then we're working on Outlook right now.
Yeah.
So you'll
Are
be
you
able
working on OpenOffice or LibreOffice, or is that?
We have not. We haven't addressed that yet.
Okay. Because it might also be something that people who use Google Docs use, but I think Google Docs is pretty widely used in the US, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In businesses.
Yeah, I was researching yesterday, and I believe that we have 80 to 90% of the Office suite addressed with Google Docs and Microsoft Word.
Okay. Yeah.
But our goal here is to be in wherever you want to create, right? So wherever you're writing, we want to be there and be the glue behind your process. So the integration, the other future integrations that we have aside from what's out there is Slack, Salesforce, Percolate, NewsCred, Curata, all of these different platforms where you're already using them today to do your research. We're going to be able to provide those snippets alongside your research in the tools where you're writing already.
Not bad. You might want to either switch out off share. It's kind of irritating for me because I'm seeing myself 3 times at the moment. Yeah.
Did I turn it off?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, you already mentioned. Usually, that's kind of the point where I say, okay, understood the product. It's somewhat cooler than when I first looked at it. I said, bookmarking. What the heck? Yeah, it's like this is supposed to be new. Yes. But that's in a closer look. It's much cooler than I thought because I didn't have this perspective. I think I installed this plugin because I was told to by the system, but I didn't realize what it does. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, and especially when you're in Word too, then you're in pretty as you said, over 80% of the desktop market, because I mean, for example, I used to use OpenOffice quite a lot. Then I was forced into the Microsoft world again, but I'm not really using Word. I just have to teach people using Outlook, and then I got the whole package. But even OpenOffice, I'm only using it when I need to do some low-tech desktop publishing, because I don't do desktop publishing when I do invitations for some holiday invitation for the family or something. So when you have really have to know it's 2 millimeters on the left margin and 5 millimeters on the right margin or whatever, or when you do folders or stuff like that, so when you really do some kind of low-tech desktop publishing, but everything else I do in Google Docs. Everything else. I write my bills in Google Docs. I do my business projections in Google spreadsheets and so on and so on. So it's extremely diverse what you can do with Google tools right now.
It's Google's done a great job of producing the Office suite. Personally, I still get frustrated with their sheets or their version of Excel.
Okay, because of what?
The functionality isn't as broad as Excel. But
so you're in those 20% of the 80-20 Pareto. So you seem to be an Excel wizard, because I'm doing even my yearly projections there.
Yeah.
And I found a trick how to at least roughly do it. Yeah, like divide income up to this day by the number of days that have passed, multiplying it by 364 to get a rough idea how the year is going and stuff like that. And at least I haven't found anything that I needed that spreadsheets didn't do. So,
yep.
But
I'm trying to think of a good example, and I can't come up with one right now. What the challenge was, but I think it was when I was doing my forecasting for Scorc'd that I ran into issues being able to either copy and paste or add formulas or something. And the other challenge is I grew up in Office, in Microsoft Office, right? So it's that's what I know. That's what I'm familiar with. And as much as I try to change my ways, so the simple answer is we walk the fence right now because we do use Google for work as well as Office for Scorc'd. And both of those are, for different reasons, important to our day.
Okay, so tool, great. The question that would have come at this point, at latest, is how do you want to make money? And you already hinted at that the group functions or private functions will be in the premium product. What kind of pricing are we talking about?
The way that we're set up today is an individual user, a writer, can sign up for $15 a month. It's $14.99. And if any of the listeners want to send me an email verifying they saw our talk, I'm happy to send them a promo code, and they can do $100 for the year. And then and my email is bob@sorcd.com. And then for the business users who are creating multiple people in a group, that's $20 per user per month.
I'm just sorcd.com. I'll put that in the blog and in the show notes. So
great.
So they get a code to pay $100 a year instead of 12 times 15.
Yes.
I'm not so good at doing math.
I'm with you.
That's why I'm writing.
Yes. Instead of $150, it'll be $100.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's an interesting price point. How did you arrive at that price?
Trial and error. So as we were speaking with our potential customers, we would go through pricing discussions and ask if $30 or $10, where was the right spot and where was it meaningful? And interestingly enough, a lot of our users were giving feedback that as you go too far down the spectrum, it reduces your validity as a product. So if it's only $1 a month, people don't give you justification as a true product.
Okay.
And actually, certain categories like lawyers saw $20 is still too low. They thought it should be $50 per person.
You need another tier there.
Yes.
Yeah, like secure, high security encoding or whatever.
We'll do our best to raise our rates
to accommodate them.
Yes.
There was another idea. Yeah, I mean, there's this other problem that if you don't pay, I mean, of course, you're thinking of it as a business, but the user, for example, with, I don't know, Dropbox or whatever, for example, I'm not paying for Dropbox because I'm not a heavy user. And I was inviting people, so I have enough volume. I think I had in the last year, I had one point where my Dropbox was too small, and that was when somebody tried to send me a 2-hour video of me doing a talk, and that was the suggested transfer option, yeah. But then I found out I just have to delete a lot of stuff that was not important anyway, and then I had enough room, yeah. So I'm also not paying because I'm not using it, but the problem from the user side is if they're not paying, they never know if the business is not going to go away, because not everybody is happy enough or lucky enough to be bought. I mean, yeah, and then even then, depending on who buys you, you go away faster than anybody can say beep. Yeah.
Yeah, there might be a different logo up there in a few years.
So is that your? Are you already talking to people, or is that?
We're still early stage. We're working today to build our foundation of customers, and as I mentioned, we're focused on writers. So companies like Brafton, Imagination, Rise Interactive are the early companies that are using us today. And we're aggressively working on a marketing campaign. Over the next 60 days, you'll start to see that we'll push out more of our advertising to drive more of the user base. And you know, there's a game with a lot of the startups of let's go raise money, and we've been very much focused on let's raise our customer base, because the reality is the business isn't anything until you have customers who are using and paying and love the platform. At that point, we could potentially go take on investors or not, depending on how quickly we ramp up our customer base.
The ideal scenario would be that you grow from and with your customers, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's I think that's a book I sometimes mention in these talks. It's Behind the Cloud. It's probably one you read from Mark Benioff, and I found especially his idea that he said, okay, it's $5 per seat, yeah, and which is triple a third of what you cost, but I think it's $5, right? $5 per seat. But he says, and this way we only grow if you grow. Yeah, if you have double the employees next year, okay, or double the employees who use our product next year, then we have double. Then we have double the money, and you'll only have those employees if we provide a good product. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, in this case, the product is very, very closely related to the success of a company. Yeah, I mean, in the case of Salesforce.
With Salesforce and with Scorc'd, I mean, the whole idea is if you're a content creation agency, your bottom line is how many articles did I produce this week? How much did we make? You're not making money for your research. You're making money based on your production. And we're allowing the users, your team, to be able to focus on that production instead of that time researching and where the hell did I see that? I know I read it last time. With the groups, we didn't really even address many times there's multiple clients in the same category. And right now, there's no sharing of that research between the team members because they're focused on getting their customers satisfied. They're not focused on how do I help my team see what I just researched.
You need gamification there.
And it's somewhat built in by having your face with every snippet, right? So there's 8 people on the team and you only see 6 people posting. You can go harass the other 2 and say, what are you doing all day? Where's your information? And it's somewhat built into that, and we can tweak the way that it's set up to amplify that down the road.
Okay, we kind of got stuck at this price discussion, and you said the individual user is those $15 a month. So if I'm a company and say, okay, I'm gonna buy 100 licenses, I'm sure you have different prices there then. So what quantity is the quantity where people should also mail you at bob@source.com?
The beauty of Source is it's open, right? You can have 1 person or 5,000 using the platform. And once we get beyond that 150 users, we can change that model to 150 to 250 is X amount per month. And we'll address that pricing as we engage those discussions. But we haven't really set the formula beyond that point.
So when people come with more than 150 users, then it's time to talk. Okay.
Yes.
But I'm sure you'll figure that out from your data anyway when Sourced is taking off at some place. I mean, it's also something that was in Benioff's book, that very often they enter the company by just one or two people starting to use it, and then those guys went to their boss and said, I want this for all of my team.
Exactly.
Is that also a way that it works with Sourced? It's that people discover it, and
that's the I call it the Trojan horse approach.
Yeah, right.
So you go in and you get 2 or 3 users who love it, and then they turn to the kid next to them and says, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" Or they brag about how great it is, and then it turns into it's much easier for the enterprise to sign up than for each individual to sign up. At which point we can go to the enterprise decision maker, and it's a much easier conversation for Source to say, you have 50 users already, you can sign 100 for the same price, or whatever that discussion would be. But yes, that's a lot of the users that we have today are those pilot programs where it's 5 or 10 people in an organization who are using the program and justifying the value. And then
how many users are we talking about at the moment? Because the public feed, that's pretty much you and either your wife or sister, or at least somebody with your last name. So the public feed is not totally busy, right?
Yep.
People are not using it as a, let's say, marketing tool or way to point at things they found.
Yep. So today we have 500 registered users, and of those, 75 are corporate paid users. And so the challenge that we've run into is the value of Sourced really grows with users, right? Your ability to discover new information is only there when many people are feeding the machine with these great snippets. The other piece is we're not focused on the free version. And so as a result, we're not signing huge volumes of people for the free because we don't get paid for the free. To compound that, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm usually a fan of a all-time free version of things.
Yep.
Because it's in a way a very good way of marketing, and then it's just difficult to find the point, or not difficult, but you have to be very sensitive of identifying the point where it becomes so useful that people want to spend money for it, and maybe also want to spend money for it so they won't lose it.
Yep. Yes. Because we are bootstrapping, I don't have the budgets to go create a marketing campaign to acquire users that aren't paying us. Longer term, if we do decide to raise money, or as we increase our revenue base, we'll be able to grow that free user platform, as well as be able to differentiate between the free platform and the paid platform in a way that is meaningful beyond just the private and public posting. So today, the only differentiator is anybody who is on Sourced can see what you're snipping if you're in the free version. As we grow, the additional tools and functionality will increase between that free and the paid version.
I think the free version could be a kind of bookmarking. I mean, it could have a slightly different function from the paid version. The paid version is really a work tool, and the other thing would be a place where you structure and collect stuff, because I mean, yeah, that's what happens to us. Yeah, if we don't, even if I share it on Facebook, I lose it. Yeah, because it's inaccessible afterwards. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have to bookmark it. I have to blog it. I have to. Then you have a browser with 700 files with different bookmarks, and sometimes you find it and wonder what that was about.
Yep.
So so it could be even interesting as a, let's call it, pseudo social media tool. Yeah, so I collect stuff about productivity or about blogging or about Hangouts on Air or whatever. Yeah, and just use that as a kind of semi-public or public channel. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
that could be the free tool, and then you could show people, well, this is the free tool, but you can use that as a professional tool, and that might be. I always think that word of mouth is one of the best and cheapest ways of marketing, but I get your I get your priority. Yeah? As you're bootstrapping, you have to really focus, and that seems to work very well. Now, maybe to the German listeners, and it's Bob was referred to me by the people from Tribe2, and they are in Chicago, and Bob is too. Yeah, so we're not talking to the Valley here,
No,
but
we're
to the other place where all the startups are. What's the? I mean, probably if you were in the valley, there wouldn't be two bikes there in the background, right?
if I was in the valley, I'd be able to use those year round.
Okay, yeah, that's also a
In
point.
Chicago, we have to we only get to use them 6 months out of the year.
Okay, so you
But,
have to wait a little. What's
yeah,
the weather like in your place? Here it's starting to get spring. Maybe I have those slides down, but this is what
yeah.
it looks like outside.
You actually have a yard.
Yeah, that's actually. I usually say I have a house on a soccer field. Yeah.
That's
Um, but this is a place where my family lived for several hundred years now. So
oh,
it's
cool.
the small rest of the former riches. Yeah. Um,
I would show you the window, but I'm in a basement home
okay.
office, so the window
Okay.
would be
Not
not very
not
helpful.
so interesting.
But
What's the Chicago startup community like? I mean, we all hear about Silicon Valley all the time, but we don't really hear a lot about Chicago and other
yeah,
places where startups are in the US.
so I actually work out of 1871 with the guys at Tribe, and 1871 is a shared workspace here in Chicago that's pretty well known for having about 350 companies working out of that space, and they're growing every day. And what's really cool about 1871 is it's not just a shared space, right? We can go to Starbucks or
Oops.
the Westin and work out of those spaces. But what 1871 does, which is a little different, is they provide workshops and access to mentors.
Hmm.
So it's a really good spot to be able to have conversations with other startups and entrepreneurs who are going through the same ups and downs that you go through every day, right? It's
Hmm.
so that's great. Access to the mentors are great. And I think the summary of Chicago, different from the East or West Coast, is it's we call it the Midwest values, right? So
Hmm.
there we don't get a lot of investment in the napkin idea and
Hmm.
the social media, the glory. But when you have a concept that is a business tool that is
Hmm.
going to help other other businesses make more money,
Hmm.
there's a lot of support for those type of things. And so we're much more conservative on investing and on ideas. But when the products come out of Chicago, they work.
Hmm.
And that's what most of
It's
us
more
are
the
focused.
provide value idea and not provide some new shiny thing that I can sell as fast as possible.
I'm not as sexy as I would be on the West Coast. But yes, that's the market in Chicago is absolutely thriving. There's, as I said, 350 companies working out of 1871, and there's 10 other shared workspaces which are all focused on the same entrepreneur concept. And there's plenty of good ideas and good hardworking individuals putting together solutions that I'm sure you'll know more about over the next year as they continue to grow.
Yeah, I'll have a look at the Chicago scene. I think the next entrepreneur is already in line. I had to tell him, wait a sec, I first have to do this video, then I have to organize the bar camp, and then I get back to you. But
That's great.
It's really nice to hear about new things that you think up. Now I'm wondering, I'm not too familiar with the German startup scene in Berlin. As far as I know, there are accelerators. I know even a German railway is doing an accelerator, and German Telecom, of course, and so on and so on.
Yep.
I doubt that any of those has 350 companies under one roof. Yeah, if I understand right, it's more kind of a co-working space that also does, provides access to know-how. So it's not really like an accelerator, but probably with the same benefits in a way. Yeah, so that you get access to know-how and maybe access to people who say, calm down. It's not as bad as you think.
Yes.
But at the moment, I doubt that anybody in Germany has only 350 companies under one roof. Yeah, so this is amazing, and it would be cool to have structures like these in Berlin, Munich, Hamburg, Cologne. I think now I mentioned most of them.
Yeah.
That are kind of where Cologne is more media startups, Berlin is more the hip stuff that is sometimes even bought by Microsoft, like six Wunderkinder, and maybe you heard of that.
What was that one?
Six Wunderkinder. So it's in the number 6 and then Wunderkinder, like wonder children. They did a task app, and I won't evaluate the quality of that app, but and they got bought by Microsoft. Yeah. So, but that was kind of there are a lot of English-speaking startups in Berlin. Because it's also a nice place to be in, and you can cycle a little more than 6 months, but maybe 9. Or I know people who cycle all year round. Actually, here in the village, people cycle all year round, except if there's really, really ice, black ice on the streets, then they don't. But that's fascinating to hear how big structures can get in the country of unlimited possibilities.
It is. It's a great environment, and it's been a great place to work, and making connections like the guys over at Tribe, and that's, it's kind of like grad school, right? You don't go to grad school for the degree; you go to the grad school for your networking, and those people you meet are the ones that are going to create your business for the rest of your life.
And in Germany, there's the saying, you always meet twice, and I usually say it's more like 3 or 4 times you meet. Yeah, so never piss anybody off because they're gonna pay it back in some way.
It's too small to piss anybody off.
Yeah. Okay, Bob. Thanks a lot. That's sure an interesting tool. Now that I understand what it is, I'm maybe gonna use it a little more to collect ideas, because I have some presentations I have to collect materials for, and I've put those presentations off because they have no deadline. So maybe that's a good case for a new toy to look at. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. My day is almost ending. Yours now really starting, and
I'm just kicking off.
Yeah, you're just kicking off.
Yep.
Have a second cup of coffee and
That's it.
let it roll. Okay. Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye.